I've spent the last 15 years working as a chef in Europe, developing my practice at restaurants like Noma in Copenhagen and Bastible back here at home in Dublin.
Yeah, it's delicious. Yeah, super nice.
Wild food and preservation form the basis of my approach, and it's become very clear to me that working sustainably is the only viable future for the food and drink industry.
I feel like a 3-year-old.
This is a hip rose.
Children used to put them down other people's backs because they become incredibly itchy.
In this episode of Sust, I'm going to meet with some fellow professionals in the space to find out what sustainability means to them and see how their businesses are making a difference.
The best side out.
I'm on my way to Neighbourhood Wine, where I'm going to meet Shane. I picked up some bits along my way, some bread from Scale Bakery, some cheeses from Sheridan's, along with some of my own preserves. I look forward to seeing Shane sell some of the most amazing wines in Ireland. Really look forward to hearing how sustainability fits into his business model. How are things going for you?
Good. It's been a hectic year. We've come into it and I suppose it's been a dream for us to sell the wines we love from small producers, which is really important to us because a lot of the stuff we do would be organic, biodynamic, not out of any kind of principle, I suppose, apart from really sustainability and making sure that the guys that we buy from are kind of custodians for the land rather than just, I suppose, producers.
You personally go out there and you meet them.
Yeah, a lot of them are mates because it's a small, fairly tight-knit community, especially in the kind of wine that we like to bring in, which is, it's very personal, and a lot of them are very small producers. I got a tip from a guy in Paris who was really good sommelier. And he basically said, look, there's a small guy working about an hour north of Burgundy in a place you never heard of called Champlit. And I was like, I've got to go see this. And he went and taught himself how to make wine, came and propagated the vines from 85, and they've never been sprayed at all. So, it's...
So he really knows what he's doing. So you're getting properly made wine.
Properly made wine with the intervention of nothing.
Yeah.
And including this one without even sulfur. It's just grapes.
Right.
So it's your romantic notion of wine. But that all aside, it's just yummy as well, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's no accident that delicious produce comes from independent producers, be it winemakers, cheesemakers, bakers, taking time in their craft to produce something that's both natural and that comes from a long tradition of working locally and sustainably. Shane and I shared a delicious wine, Le Charlatan, made by Killian, who works in the shop. To have that level of expertise from someone who's selling you a bottle, that's what really sets apart independent outlets like Neighbourhood Wine.
The key thing is you're getting someone that has selected the wine in the shop, and they believe in the wine, and 9 times out of 10 they'll be supporting those small producers again, or supporting a small importer. I like to do the test of, if you're away camping in the west of Ireland and you're so far away from an independent shop, and you end up in a big supermarket, look for a wine that's sulfur-free if possible, which increasingly there's more available. And that is just because it's not out of dogma about having sulfur or not. It's about the way that the farmer has had to farm the grapes to go into that wine, because they have to be organic or biodynamic or done in a sustainable way because they need that biodiversity in the winery to be able to produce in that manner.
In terms of the future of wine and talking about shops like yours or, to supermarkets.
Yeah.
Where's that happy medium, or is there a real positive future for wine in terms of?
There is, but I think the real positive for wine at the moment is that it is becoming more local, and people are seeing that, and there's opportunities, in countries that are close to us. There's opportunities for different types of packaging as well that have a lower carbon footprint. So over the past few years, we've seen a wider acceptance of wine in keg for restaurants, and also wine that's in pouches or cans, which is a far better way, I suppose, in terms of the carbon footprint from shipping, weight-wise. I think that people have really started to concentrate on where their food is coming from, and with that, wine comes into that picture as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pandemic has had a huge influence on that. I mean, people really pay a lot of attention and are willing to pay that little bit more for food that they trust, and they know about. They know that it's been grown organically, or like the farm yesterday with Dermot. Yeah, it's like that grower, how he's growing, and you're putting a really good product into your body.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day,
you're taking a link out of the transport chain as well. So it's not going from farmer to warehouse to distributor to truck to warehouse to truck to shop. You're cutting a couple of links. There's so many links in the chain that whatever you can cut down on is good. But also you get to transmit the story of the grower and work with them year on year. So these are our tote bags, which we started with last year. Obviously good for branding, but we initially thought merch was pretty hot in 2020, so let's make some tote bags. But we've given far more of them away than we have anything else. But it's great. Like if a customer's going to come in and pick up 3 bottles, it's great to have. Also as well, my daughter designed the back of it, so it has a personal touch as well. Came down one Saturday morning and she was drawing this away on the kitchen table and said, "There you go, Dad." And I just said, "Okay, I think we've got something."
That's the one. It was great to see you opening when you did, like a year ago, and since then you've opened another 2 spots. It's unbelievable to see that growth.
Yeah, I suppose it seems like a lot, but at the same time we've been sure to keep the model light since day one, because first and foremost there'd been a trend in Ireland where off licenses, independent ones, had been generalist, kind of across the board in terms of spirits and beer and wine. A lot of them have really struggled over the years with supermarkets getting bigger and taking a bigger market share. And what had happened was you'd kind of end up with 2 things, so hybrid wine bar / bottle shop / restaurant and coffee shop, and also a standard off license which is trading mainly on price. So we didn't want to be either of those, and the key was having shorter opening hours, taking shops that we knew that we could run without too much energy as well. So we don't, we really only have a couple of fridges per shop. It's very light, it's a laptop. We don't even have a traditional till system, and we have all the LED lights in the new units as well. It's a reflection of our personalities and our staff that we want to make sure that we do things right. And we're at the beginning of our sustainability journey. There are real challenges in terms of wine, and that does come down to the production / shipping / glass bottle thing. So we, over time want to make sure that at the very least our shipping is carbon neutral. We're working on that at the moment, and it's been a learning experience, to be honest. Once you start to scratch away at the surface, you can see that a lot of companies are producing ways, like one tree planted and a lot of things like that. When some trees that are planted in one part of the world don't capture 1/3 of the carbon of another one planted in a different part of the world. Of course. And starting to get into these little minutiae to work out how to be the most effective that we can.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Pleasure as always.